are fascinating. Have you ever seen a roly-poly underneath a microscope? Excuse me? You'd like me to do what? Well, Stoney's asked me to show you the inside of an egg. We're going to use the old inside of vision here to see what's going on inside there. Oh, that's a little strong. Let me turn that down a little bit. Can you see that? To understand what could happen to an egg during transport, first we're going to have to learn about some of the parts of the eggs and their functions, and to ascertain why it is important to allow an egg to settle for that 18 to 24 hours. Eggs have poles, not that kind of pole, silly. They have a large pole and a small pole, or a fat end and a pointy end. We want to store eggs the pointy end down. Everyone knows what the shell is. It's a hard semi-porous layer of an egg. On the outside of the shell is a membrane called the bloom. This helps keep the bacteria out. This is the reason for not washing eggs before going into the incubator or setting eggs with a large amount of fecal matter that might penetrate that bloom and kill the chick embryo. The yolk, that big yellow mass in the egg? No, that's not what turns into a chick, but is full of the proteins, enzymes, and nutrients used to nourish the chick through incubation and up to 3 days after hatching. The thick albumin is the egg white, which isn't white until it's cooked. That and the inner and the outer albumin consist of 66% of the liquid weight of an egg, containing riboflavin and the proteins. It also works as a huge cushion to protect the yolk and the newly forming chick. The vitellin membrane is what holds the yolk together. If this is broke and the contents of the yolk are completely displaced, the chick will not be viable no matter how long you let the egg settle. The caliciferous layer envelops the yolk, protecting the vitellin membrane, and is the first layer of a true shock absorber, as well as anchors the actual shocks, the twisted spring-like chalaesae. The chalaesae are located on the top and the bottom of the yolk. These protein structures are what hold the yolk and forming embryo in place as the hen rotates the eggs, or in our case, the eggs getting mailed. If these do get detached, as long as the vitellin membrane has not ruptured, gravity and the different densities of the albumin, this will bring the yolk back to a suspended equilibrium or center. This is the number 2 reason for letting eggs settle for 18 to 24 hours, to allow the yolk to get centered. The air cell is the number 1 reason to allow the eggs to settle. The air cell is located between 2 membranes, the inner and the outer shell membrane. During transport, the air cell could have been dislodged and separated into many smaller pockets or even bubbles. The gravity pulling on the liquid and the semi-solid contents of the egg will force any air between the 2 membranes back to the large pool of the egg, joining again into one mass. And finally, just so you know what's going to become the chick, it is that little white spot you see on the yolk called the germinal disc, or the bullseye. If your eggs do not have the telltale sign of a germinal disc, it has not been fertilized. So hopefully now you know a little bit more about the different names of the things inside the eggs and what could happen during transport or if the eggs are handled roughly. So what I'll do is go ahead and turn this thing off so it doesn't zap me again. We're going to get this egg back out of here. And Stoney, I'm going to hand it back to you, and you can finish telling the folks out there what you need to, and I'm going to go back to looking at roly-polies.